Hi, everybody. Welcome to my channel. My name is Lonnie, and I'm ticked off. We're going to go through a few things. This video is about the 25th Amendment. Um, and when first I start telling you a little bit about me, I'm just a normal, regular guy. Uh, I live in the Midwest, uh, married, kids, grandkids, and I'm pretty concerned with the way our country's going. Because of that, I've decided to go ahead and start making videos and putting them out there in YouTube land. Some of you may agree with me, some of you may not. That's up to you. The great thing about our country is that we're free to do what we want, right? You're free to think your own thoughts. You're free to speak your mind without punishment of getting beaten or killed or thrown in prison like in uh, some communist and socialist countries like Venezuela and China, Russia. What I'm seeing lately has really disturbed me. So I'm tired of being quiet. Now most people mind. And I know there's a lot of us out there that are like that. These pollsters screaming, oh, Biden's up by 10 points or 8 points and blah, blah, blah. Yeah. What the pollsters aren't taking into consideration is what happened 4 years ago when all the polls had Hillary Clinton up by 11 points. That didn't happen, did it? No. What we're seeing is the same thing that happened 4 years ago, and political pundits didn't learn their lesson the last time, which is going to make the day after election this time even better for me because 4 years ago I got to laugh the day after election at all the liberals crying. This time I get to laugh even harder. Look, our country is so divided, and it's crazy to think that there used to be a time when you could be like Justice Ginsburg and Justice Scalia and disagree on major points, but still be friends. The difference between me, I'm a conservative, Republican, constitutionalist. I believe in the Constitution is written the way that it's written. Period. It's in black and white. So you go by what the Constitution says, right? This is just common sense. But some liberals want to change that. They don't like the fact that we have the Second Amendment. By the way, I love the Second Amendment. I also love my First Amendment, my Fifth Amendment, my Sixth Amendment. What's wrong with that? There's nothing wrong with that. As a Republican, I can say I disagree with the people on the other side of the aisle. They're not evil, they're just wrong. However, the other side of the aisle looks at the people on my side of the aisle and say, they're not just wrong, they're evil. Or worse yet, when they can't debate policy, they just spill out untruths. Like you're a racist, a xenophobe. That's all crap. The newly released documents from the DNI show that Hillary Clinton, that was a political ploy, a way to try to win the election. She saw that Trump's numbers were going up, so she had to create something to kind of knock him back down. The Russian collusion hoax. I truly hope that our uh, Attorney General Bill Barr and Durham, with his report that'll probably come out from everything we're being told after the election, um, somebody's gonna go to jail for this. Bottom line is, if I go commit a crime, I'm going to jail. If you commit a crime, you're going to jail. But if you're part of the elite class, you're free to do whatever you want with no consequences. That's crap. So I'm going to be putting out, we've got 23 days before election. a little over 3 weeks. I'm going to be putting out a new video, at least one, possibly two, every day between now and Election Day. And if I can show even one person, that they should vote for Donald Trump for his reelection, then these videos are going to be well worth it. Like I said, I'm just starting this channel. I'm really new to it. I don't have a clue how to operate most of this stuff. So this is going to be a learning experience for me, and hopefully y'all join me on this journey. So let's get started in our first topic. Our first topic is the 25th Amendment. Now, I got this pulled up so that I can read it. So I want to make sure that there is no misunderstanding what the 25th Amendment actually is, or says, or what it means. I'm a firm believer in you should have the facts, right? I watched the presidential debate, and Vice President Mike Pence had a great line in there. You're entitled to your opinion, but you're not entitled to rewrite your own facts. So let's talk about the 25th Amendment. The 25th Amendment says, and I quote, in case, this is Section 1, presidential succession. In case of the removal of the president from office, or from his death or resignation, the vice president shall become president. Section 2 says vice presidential vacancy. Section 2 addresses the Constitution's failure to originally provide a mechanism for failure vacancy in the office of the vice president during the term in which the vacancy occurred. It says, quote, wherever there is a vacancy in the office of the vice president, the president shall nominate a vice president who shall take office upon confirmation by a majority vote of both houses of Congress. It means the House of Representatives and the Senate must agree, and it's by a 2/3 majority vote. Then we have Section 3, the Presidential Declaration. Wherever the President transmits to the President pro tem of the Senate and the Speaker of the House of Representatives his written declaration that he is unable to discharge the powers and duties of his office, and until he transmits them in a written declaration to the contrary, such powers and duties shall be discharged by the Vice President as acting President. Guys, let's go back in history just 30 years. President Reagan was shot. And he signed the letter. This was back in, let's see, actually, no. In 1985, on July 12, 1985, President Ronald Reagan underwent a colonoscopy, during which a precancerous lesion was discovered. He elected to have that removed immediately. He consulted with White House counsel Fred Fielding about whether to invoke Section 3, and in particular about whether doing so would set undesirable precedent. Fielding and the White House Chief of Staff Donald Regan recommended that Reagan transfer power, and 2 letters were drafted. This is important. 2 letters are drafted at the exact same time. One letter is removing President Reagan from the presidency and making the Vice President George H.W. Bush the acting president. Now, he's not just president, he's just acting president. The moment Ronald Reagan signs the second letter, that puts him back in the presidency and pushes Bush back down to be vice president. That's what the third section of the 25th Amendment is for. Now, the one that has been all over the news since Friday, when Nancy Pelosi decided to go off the rails, is Section 4. Section 4 reads, quote, whenever the vice president and a majority of either either the principal offices of the executive departments or of such other bodies of Congress may by law provide, transmit to the President pro tem of the Senate, which is the Vice President of the United States, and the Speaker of the House their written declaration that the President is unable to discharge the powers and duties of his office. The Vice President shall immediately assume powers and duties of the office as acting President. Therefore, when the President transmits to the President pro tem of the Senate and the Speaker of the House his written declaration that no inability exists, he shall resume his powers and the duties of his office unless the Vice President and a majority of either the principal officers of the executive department or of such body of Congress may by law provide. Transmit within 4 days to the President pro tem of the Senate, the Speaker of the House, that the written declaration of the President is unable to discharge the powers and duties of his office. Blah, 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 and it keeps going on. Okay? Now, who are these people that they're talking about? They're talking about a majority of either the principal officers of the executive department. The principal officers of the executive department are the 15 cabinet members that are enumerated in United States Code 5 USC 101. They are the Secretary of State, the Secretary of Treasury, the Secretary of Defense, the Attorney General, Secretary of Interior, Secretary of Agriculture, Secretary of Commerce, Secretary of Labor, Secretary of Health and Human Services, Secretary of HUD, Secretary of Transportation, Secretary of Energy, Secretary of Education, Secretary of the Veterans Affairs, and Secretary of Homeland Security. So you have to have a majority of them along, and this is what Nancy Pelosi is trying to do. Now, I think this is twofold. Number one, Nancy may be nuts, but she's brilliant on other parts, and it pains me very much to say so. She knows how to work the system. That's what it means. By enacting this new council of whether or not to deem a president fit for duty, fit to serve the country, what she's doing is she's circumventing most of this. She's saying, okay, well, we're going to have a council, and then that council will also get together with the Vice President and the Cabinet and the House of Representatives, and we're all going to be able to decide whether a president is fit for duty or not. Here's the problem with this issue. Number one, if President Trump is reelected, please, if he's reelected, then she's got another way to go after him besides impeachment. Another arrow in her quiver, as she put it. Also, if Vice President Biden is voted as president during this election, it gives her a way to kick Biden out and put Kamala Harris as the president. And in turn, probably push her up to vice president. She's greedy for power. So there has been twice that I have seen, and I looked it up online in different videos, and I found Kamala Harris saying this. I hope you hear this.
Eyebrows, but it was made again today by Biden.
Yeah, well, hang on. Did you hear that? It was former Vice President Joe Biden saying the Harris administration, along with Joe Biden. Senator Kamala Harris was also quoted in saying the Harris administration, along with Joe Biden as the president, quote unquote. She said those exact words. Never in our history has a vice presidential candidate taken the top of the ticket as the administration, along with whoever's on the top of the ticket. Never. You never heard Bill Clinton saying, with the Gore administration along with Bill Clinton as president. No, Never. And it was not just a slip of the tongue either, because not only did Harris say it, but Biden said it as well. I firmly believe, and this is just my own personal belief, I think that all signs are pointing that if Biden gets elected, that he might serve maybe a year. I'm thinking he probably won't even serve out till June of next year and step down and put Kamala Harris as president of the United States. That's scary to me, and here's why. Kamala Harris's voting record in the Senate is black and white. She is the most liberal senator in the Senate, period. She wants open borders. She wants free college education. She wants to tax everybody. She wants the Green New Deal. She wants to end fracking. Oh, please. She has said numerous times, yes, I'm going to end fracking. Now, all of a sudden, they're trying to appease the moderate Democrats to come out and vote by saying we're not going to ban fracking. It's crap. They're on record as saying they're going to ban fracking. They're going to end coal and oil. They want to go totally green. This Green New Deal, I want to know when it came down to our government spending way more money than what it has. All of us work for a living and we earn a paycheck. And we have to budget our money accordingly to make sure that our mortgage is paid, we have food on the table, our insurance is paid for our cars and our homes and our families. And then when you run out of money, you run out of money. But the Democrats want to do this Green New Deal. It's going to cost trillions of dollars. Trillions of dollars. And no way to pay for it. Why can't you just stay within the budget? Look, we've got this much money that comes in from collecting taxes and other revenue sources from the United States government to the United States government. This is all the money we can spend. We can't spend $1 more. I can't spend $1 more than what I earn. My wife can't spend $1 more than what she earns. This is the way most Americans live. Unless you're a Democrat elite who just wants to willy-nilly just spend. And now it's not just my generation or the generation after me or the third generation. We're talking 10 generations from now are still going to be paying for this crap. By Nancy Pelosi and making this new 25th Amendment coalition, she's trying to find another way to circumvent the Constitution or make the Constitution play into her favor. She doesn't like Trump. We all know this. She has denied the fact that he's our duly elected president and has been for the last 4 years. She didn't like the outcome of the election. So she's been fighting for the last 4 years to undermine everything that President Trump has been trying to do. Consistently calling him racist. Putting off approval of the MCA for months until finally approving it just before she goes for the impeachment. The impeachment was a sham. What happened to facts? What happened to, you know what? I may not like you. I may not like your personality. But we've got a job to do. Our constituents put us in office for the betterment of our country. It's up to them to go to Washington and sit in the House of Representatives or sit in the Senate and do its best for the American people. Not just one side of the aisle, but all sides of the aisle. Not just for the liberals in California, but how about the conservatives right here in Oklahoma? I don't care if you're white, black, you're Mexican, you're Pakistani. If you came to this country legally and you're paying taxes, you are an American citizen. So they should be in office to better everyone's lives. All Nancy wants to do, and Chuck Schumer, because they're hooked to the hip like Siamese twins, all they want to do is try to undermine anything that a Republican has thought of. And then turn around and say, Well, the Republicans didn't think of that. We thought of that, if they liked that actual idea. So I'm ticked off, and here's why. Everything that we just discussed for the last few minutes, it all boils down to this. It takes an act of Congress and the President of the United States and the Vice President it takes the President and the Vice President to enact the 25th Amendment. The Cabinet, along with the Senate and Vice President, can do it under Article 4, but the President has the right to defend himself in that case,